pull off good and hard. Got that setting in. All right, let's just pop it on. So 40 pounds of drag. 40 pound test should be 12 pounds of drag. Let's see what we guys have got. Well, that is 9 pounds. So we gotta adjust our drag. Welcome back, peeps, to Hook Me Up, where we back at it like a bad habit. And because I want that big fish, I'm gonna go and grab it. Well, what do we have in store for you today? Drag settings. All right, I have scoured the internet all over, up and down YouTube University, Google, the whole nine. Looked, and it's been so many different ways in which people sit there and set their drags, right? Now, everyone knows, you say your drag, that's how you fight your fish, X, Y, Z. It's supposed to prevent breaking lines, pulling hooks, etc. But there wasn't a surefire method. I did see one video out there and explained it a little bit, but it didn't go into detail. So what I'm got in store for you guys today is how I set my drag settings, all right? When I'm out there pulling in 18-pound African pompano with a 15-pound line, how is that possible, you know? So I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna show you how I personally go and set up my drags on my 3 different types of setups. So I do have a spinning reel, I do have a star drag, and I do have a lever drag. So I'm going to show you how I do it, how I set everything up, and what I actually use, because it's something that's very simple. All right, so stand by and let's get hooked.
Yeah. Nice. Yo, I'm going fishing. Woo! Yeah, I'm taking the kayak. I'll be back at some point. Don't wait up. Actually, wait up. Cause I'm gonna need you to cook the fish. Don't worry, yo, I'm gonna hook you up. A Burmy thing this and a gun fishing in Bermuda. Hook me up. Fish pond and let me ready figure pull it up. Liquor season and cook it up. You see the kayak tough, I mean a fish from rock. Yeah, boy, can you hook me up? Hook me up. Hook me up. Yeah, boy, can you hook me up? Hook me up. Hook me up.
All right, let's go get into the real setups. All right, right now, this is an Akuma Avenger ABF 80. All right, the BF is for bait feeder here. It is spooled with 40-pound braid with 100 feet of 40-pound mono. All right, next you guys are gonna come over to my Cast King Rover 90. All right, this is spooled with 60-pound hollow core with 200 feet of 100-pound mono top shot. And then we guys are gonna come over to the TRD 32 speed. All right, this is spooled with 60-pound braid as well as 300 feet of 60-pound mono top shot. So these are the 3 reels that I'm just going to give you guys a quick breakdown of and what I use. I do have more that are in the back, but these are the 3 basics that you're more than likely find out there to fish, as well as the champion of all of this, the Rapala fish scale. So this is what I'm going to be using to actually measure the drag settings. So let's go get into it a little bit deeper, but these are it. Also, I have a Penn Prevail 3 rod, jigging for spinning. This is a Rampage, let's see, 80 to 130, and then a Penn International 30 to 80 pound, and I'll get into a little bit more detail on the rods and everything else. But these are the setups that we guys are gonna go through, the basics of let's just say, what you guys are going to be doing. All right, what I do first when setting my drags is picking the right rod. All right, so what I have is a Penn Prevail 3, which is 30 to 80 pounds, a Penn International 5, which is 30 to 80 pounds, and then I have my Penn Rampage, which is 80 to 130 pounds. Now that I know that, let's just say we're going to be working with the spinning reel for now. That is a 30 to 80 pound fishing rod. So what I want to do is get a reel that pairs with that, right? Or a line, that pairs with that. So the line that I've chosen is 40 pound test, right? So that goes smack dab in the middle, might as well say somewhere, for that rod. So therefore, I use the 1/3 rule. So in other words, 40 pound test times 30% is 12 pounds. So in other words, I want to sit there and I want to set my drag to 12 pounds. With, let's just say the Penn International 4, that has 60 pound line on it, right? I want to set that to 30%, which is 18 pounds of drag. So you can see the difference between the two. Really what you want to do is let the rod do all the work for you. So this method here is a set it and forget it method. You don't have to worry about it. So what we're going to do is just run through the setup for the Penn Prevail, right? As well as the Akuma Avenger, all of that, right? And I'm going to set it to 12 pounds of drag. Now, the reason why I want to set it to 12 pounds of drag is because that means that everything works all in unison, right? Why sit there and have, let's just say, 80 pound line or even 130 pound line on a rod that can only handle 80 pound line, right? If I do 130, that's 40 pounds of drag. 40 pounds of drag on a 40 pound line, you're gonna break something. Either the guides are gonna break or your line's gonna break. So that's where you see a lot of videos where guys are breaking rods, is because you're going way across the limits of the rod, right? Your drag slips at a certain point, and that's what you want to achieve. Just tire the fish out. That's what fishing is. It's that game. Let it run. When it tires out, bring it in. Run, bring it in. There you go. All right, so let's go get into the setup and see how I go about doing it. All right. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my Penn Prevail here. Trying to get the camera to focus, but it's 30 to 80 pound rated rod, medium fast. All right, and like I said, I have my Akuma Avenger spooled up with 40 pound braid and 40 pound mono top shot. All right, so really what I want the rod to do is I want the rod to work for me. I want the drag to sit there and work for me. And I don't want to be sitting here fooling around doing all of this. You see in many videos, guys are sitting there, the rationing down, and then they go and they'll lose a lure, lose the fish, a hook will break off or the line will break because it's too tight. And or I would use, let's just say, a 10 pound line on this, right? That's rated for 30 to 80 pounds, right? And I'm cranking this down, and this can go up to, let's just say, 24 pounds of drag on a 10 pound line. The line's gonna snap. So that's where you get all your breakages. So you wanna sit there and you wanna actually prevent that. So what I'm gonna do, right? Because as you can see, I'm gonna loosen everything all up, and you guys are just gonna go through and set this. All right, this is my method, the way that I do it. It may not be correct, but this is how I sit there and do it. So 40 pound line is supposed to have 12 pounds of drag. So I'm gonna grab my scale. I have a little bit of line on the end. I'm gonna walk over. I have some string that's attached here, right? So all I'm gonna do is wrap it around. This is a nice little concrete stool, right? Set this to 0, right? I have my line. Let's go walk back and grab the rod. Okay, let's just grab. I'll go. No, I shouldn't be doing all of this. This is all bush stuff, but it works. Okay, I set this up. Let's go get in. This is what I do. Uncut, unrated, back over. And all I'm gonna do, right, first off, pick up the reel, right, wind it in, get the drag warmed up. And all I'm gonna do is I'll pull back and forth just to sit there and get the drag warmed up. That's one. And also this would be as if a fish is running, right? It just simulate that. No, it's not perfect. Yes, I'm high sticking and all of that, but I'm able to see where everything is. So I'll walk back up. Let's go see how much drag you guys put on. So it's only 3 pounds of drag. So now I know I can come back. I'll grab the line or the rod, and now I'll give it a couple turns. I know that is going to be a lot, but I'll go again. And now, as you guys can see, the rod is doing what it's supposed to be doing. You can hear the drag going, right? And I'm giving nice hard pulls. So just to simulate a fish going for that nice run, right? Bring it in, pull it hard. But this would be it. This is the time where, you know, your rod would sit there and break. So let's go walk up again, get some good exercise in. But now we guys are at 8 pounds. So we just go back, tighten up the drag a little bit more. So we can go here. Let's just test it. Pull that big fish in. And this is also a good time to see how your drag feels if it slips. I've had many reels that would sit there and they're out, or they'll slip, something would be faulty, something like that. So this is something that you can set up really good, really quick, to just go out and set it. So let's just pop back. So we are at 10 pounds right now, and our goal is 12. So I'll go back, tighten it up, give it a couple more clicks. Let's go 5. Here now. Woo! So just pulling in that nice fish. Also remember is that when you let more line out, your drag increases. All right. So the more the fish pulls, the more your drag increases. More line in the water. All right. So let's just rest that down. Pop up. Still on 10 pounds, so we gotta go a little bit tighter. All right, let's go. Also, this is another way you can test if any of your setups. So if you've got a special knot that you want to test out and see if it will break or anything like that, this is a good way to sit there and work that, right? So, okay, We're at 11 pounds. If you guys can see that, yep, 11 pounds, right? So do a couple more clicks and let's go get it spot on. All right. So bring this in a little bit more. It might be a bit too much. I can feel it. You can hear it. So now I can actually feel right here bending, and that's not a good sign. So let's go see. I can feel it. So once you start feeling the rod bending, that's where, or in your hand, that's a bad spot. So see, look, that's 15 pounds of drag. So that's way, way too much. So just reset it. And I know I have to go back. So there's a great example of, you know, having too much drag and your rod would snap. All right. So now what I'm going to do, loosen it up. So that's 4 clicks. That feels better. Feels like a spot on. All right, so here, I'll walk up. All right, so I let out too much. So that's 9 pounds. All right, so I'll give it, that was 4 in the last one. I'll tighten up 2. All right, so here, that's 2. Yeah, that's good. So that feels like it's spot on. And or what you can do with this is if you got kids, you can go and have your kids run with it and set your drag, just hold, you know, this end here and just try to run. So look at that, people. Spot on, 12 pounds of drag. So now that will just be, let's go unhitch it, right? And really down here, if you guys look, right, that's just a figure 8 knot on a 60-pound test, all right? That's it. So I know that a figure 8 knot on a 60-pound test can hold up to 12 pounds of drag, all right? Also, if you guys look, this is another setup that I have. All right, I crimp everything. This is 40-pound test crimped. All of this held on through all of that. It didn't break. If it broke, then I would know that, hey, yeah, it can't hold up. All right, so I'm just gonna unhitch this, and that would be that. So now this is how I get my set it and forget it method. All right, everything's all done. She is all set and ready to go. So all I gotta do now, bring everything in, right? And I'm ready to go. So that's how I sit there and I set my drags, right? The rod would sit there and disengage properly. When I'm fighting the fish, I'm not sitting here doing all the twirling and stuff like that. Set to 12 pounds of drag. I don't have to do anything else, fix anything else and whatnot. Everything would be spot on. All right, so let's just move on to actually the star drag setup would be the exact same thing. All right, so you don't have to, it's the exact same, it's just that it's the star drag and you have the button system. All right, so let's go look at the lever drag now. Okay, now we just got the star drag set up. Like I said, this is the Cast King Rover 90, spooled with 60-pound hollow core and a 100-pound mono top shot. Now, just because I have 100 pounds on here doesn't mean I need to put 30% drag. If if I do 30% drag, once I get to that 60 pounds, I'm going to be well over. So 30 pounds, 60 pounds, that's 50%. So it will not work on this reel. So I have to use the smallest or the lightest part, which is 60 pounds, right? This entire setup. So the rod is rated between 80 to 130, but, right, let's go look at that real quick. Right, if you guys can see, 80 to 130 pounds. Even if, let's just say, if this is a 100-pound line, as soon as I go and that 60 pounds comes out, I'm at 50% because there'd be 30 pounds of drag, okay? So that's where the line would break. So really I want to choose the smallest amount. So if 60 pounds is the smallest, if the rod was rated at 60 pounds, I could put 200-pound line on here. I would have to go, because the rod is at 60 pounds, I'd have to make sure that the rod is, you know, sorted for that 60 pounds. So 60 pounds at 30%, 18 pounds of drag. So right now, I've got it all lined up, right? And all I'm gonna do is pull, right? The rod is working, but I'm not using the full potential of this rod, okay? Reason being is that it's rated between 80 and 130, right? So yes, I have the 100-pound top shot, but the 60 is what's going to determine everything, right? So I'm not using the full potential of this rod. So let's just go pop up and just see what you guys have got. Okay, just walk up. It's 17 pounds, all right? I could probably pull it a little bit harder, get it to 18, but 17 pounds, that's about it. That'd be good for me, right? This would actually tow my kayak around. But like I said, this is 60-pound mono, right? With, on here with a figure 8 knot. Like, and it's holding very well. So you know that everything works. Here's the connections and whatnot. So I know that everything all holds up. Great way to sit there and test your knots and whatnot also. All right. So you can do that just to sit there and test your knots. And I know I said I was going to go to the lever drag, but you guys are going to go to that one next. All right. So let me just go finish this off and then we'll get to the lever drag. All right, now we've got the 32 speed. Now, if you guys take a look, I have this set up a little bit different. Okay, so lever drag is here. This is how I sit here and I set my drag. Now, if you take a look, I have number 6, 10, 14, 18, and 22. All right, so this allows me to know what drag settings are at different positions, okay? So this is nice. I love lever drags, right? I have a jig and reel also that's set up the same, but I use this for trolling. So depending on what I'm actually going for, I can go and understand what or how much drag I actually want to sit there and put on the fish itself, all right? So let's just say if it's a rockfish, you know, bang, I'm going to take it up to 22 pounds. I know that's going to be somewhere in the area about 40% or so, but I'm pretty, let's just say confident in my connections and whatnot. 18, because this is 60-pound top shot as well as 60-pound braid, right? 18 is the ideal drag. So that's where I would want to sit there and sit, right? Also remembering that more line that goes out, the more drag that's going to be applied, okay? So I currently have my strike set up 14, right? This allows me to have a little bit more at full. So if I want 18, I just push the button in here, right? Go across, pop it up to 18, and now I've got the correct drag for this line and rod combination. And then if I go all the way to full, it's going to be going across 22. All right, so I know that 22, the line can handle it. So let's go and sit there and do that, right? Got it at 22. I'm gonna pull it, right? Let's get this rod bent over, right? Because the rod can handle 80 pounds, right, of drag, right? That's what I want to sit there, and I have 22 set up. So as you can see, pulling it nice and tight. So this is another nice little setup that you guys can sit there and just take in, right? This would actually pull me all over the place if I'm in the kayak, right? I am pulling hard on this. So let's just go and see what it looks like if it's at 22. Oh, just shy. Okay. But 20, 22 is all going to be all close for me. I can leave it at that point and I'll be absolutely happy. Okay. So this is how I sit there and I set up all my rods and whatnot. You got your 3 different styles. Okay. And bang. That's my setup, my kayak setup, on how I sit there and I set my rods. All right, peeps. Hopefully that was informative for you. Just remember, as we guys recap on everything, your smallest number or your smallest pond is where you set your drag. So you can have a rod that's rated 80 to 130 pounds, but if you're only running 20-pound test line, you sit there and you set 30% of that 20-pound test line. Set 20 pounds for that 130-pound drags, which is what, 40 pounds, you will definitely break that line. All right, so just remember that, keep that tuned in. That's my little secret that I sit there and I use for my set it and forget it method. It's my way. It may not be the right way, but that's the way that I sit there and I stay hooked. So if you guys have any questions, comments, anything to add, drop it down in the comment section down below and let's get hooked.